Hello everybody, and welcome to this guide for Dead and Buried, the latest quest in the Fort Forinthry saga. We're going to go ahead and kick things off by talking to the raptor, who's in his usual spot outside the guardhouse in the fort. You'll begin discussing Zemaragel's activities in the crypt to the north, which you uncovered during the previous quest, Unwelcome Guests. But before you can get too far into that discussion, we'll be interrupted by a herald who's arrived. Head over to the town hall. There's the usual portal just by the entrance here, which allows you to continue the quest. After a quick cutscene with the herald appearing and gifting you a painting from the king and queen, you'll move into a discussion about fort security and decide that you need to interview another captain of the guard to replace the raptor. Moving into your interview with Sophia, the prospective guard captain, you will have 4 different questions you can ask her, work through all of these options, and then the interview will conclude and you will hire her. The first order of business is that she wants the guards to be equipped with ranged weapons, and so in order to enable this, you're going to build a little extension to the guardhouse down to the south, which is the ranger's workroom. As usual, head over to chat to Bill outside the workshop to unlock the blueprint. It's worth mentioning that if you haven't yet built the wall extension over to the east, which you need to unlock the Woodcutter's Grove, then you will need to do that before you can unlock the Ranger's Workroom and continue with the quest. The first stage of the workroom requires 14 Acacia frames and 6 stone wall segments. Materials-wise, that is 24 limestone bricks and 168 Acacia logs or Acacia planks. With that blueprint constructed, head down here. The workroom is just to the west of the guardhouse, and construction here follows the same pattern as any other building you've been doing for the fort. With that complete, have a quick chat to your new guard captain to check that she's got everything she needs, and then return to the raptor to continue with the quest. It's worth mentioning that over the rest of the quest there will be a fair amount of combat. The enemies are scaled to your level, so it shouldn't be too difficult, but do make sure at this stage you've got combat gear with you and a few pieces of food if you want. The raptor will tell you to meet in the crypt, so head through the gate to the north and round to the crypt. It's worth flagging that the undead you'll pass on your way will be aggressive to you, so just keep an eye out for that if you're low level. Use protect from melee prayer or eat up if you need to. Rather than entering the crypt itself, once again find the portal just by the entrance and click on that to continue with the quest. You'll find yourself in the crypt with the raptor fighting off 3 risen ghosts. While he's doing that, you need to go and find some materials to construct a bridge over the lava to the place you saw Zemaragel last time. So head into the room over to the west here. You need 9 materials in total. 6 of them can be found from searching the spooky holes that are around the room. They're marked by red dots on your minimap. Once you've searched all 6 of them, 3 material ghouls will appear out of the holes, and you need to kill them to get the final 3 materials. They're pretty easy to kill, but you can safe spot them behind a pillar like I'm doing here if you need. With all 9 materials gathered, head back to the construction hotspot just south of the raptor and interact with that to build a bridge over to the ancient door. To get through the door, you need both padlocks on the pillars to be pressed, so position one of yourself or the raptor next to one of the pillars, switch to the other by clicking on them, and then position that character opposite the opposite pillar. With that done, investigate the door again to retrieve this strange Dragon King device, and the raptor will suggest taking it to show Reldo, the librarian in Varrock Palace. Head to Varrock and up into the palace. Rather than going straight in and talking to Reldo, you again want to use the portal to continue the quest, which is just by the library door here. That will bring you into a cutscene of you and the raptor talking to Reldo. The raptor will interact with the device and become trapped in their dreams. And so to join them, you will take a dreamless sleep potion from Reldo, drink it, and then interact with the device again to go and join the raptor. For the next stage of the quest, you and the raptor are making your way through this dreamscape. You are controlling both characters. Switch between yourselves as needed by either clicking on the other character or using the extra action button here. For the first stage, you need to move through a series of pressure plate puzzles. The first one here, just by the entrance, you just need to position one character on each. That will drop the barrier, allowing you to retrieve the rock that is behind it. You'll be doing a lot of moving rocks around over the next few puzzles. You can either push or pull the rock. The raptor will move the rock 5 squares if you push the rock while controlling them, whereas your own character will move it a single square, so make use of both of those as needed to move the rocks around. With the first boulder retrieved, take it over to the set of 3 pressure plates just to the north, place the boulder on one and then one of each of your characters on the other 2 to once again drop this barrier, allowing you to access the second boulder. And then with that done, take both boulders and both characters and position them on the 4 pressure plates up at the top here to drop this barrier and head through to the next section. Continue to the northeast for the next puzzle. There are 2 pressure plates. The 2 pressure plates to the west each spawn a boulder which you can move around, but the boulder will only stay while one of you is standing on the pressure plate. So stand on one pressure plate, move that boulder into position, and then repeat for the second pressure plate. Once again, you want the 2 boulders and your 2 characters on the 4 pressure plates by the barrier. That will again drop the barrier and allow you to continue. For the next puzzle, begin by standing on the westernmost pressure plate here to spawn a boulder. You want to move that round and then position the boulder and the 2 characters on the 3 pressure plates as shown here. That will trigger a cutscene and then spawn a second boulder. Move that boulder over so that between 2 boulders and 2 characters you've once again got 4 pressure plates covered. That will trigger another cutscene with the reveal that the mysterious raptor is in fact Queen Elamaria. Chat through the different conversation options there, and then you'll be into the next section of the quest where you need to move around and interact with these dim lights. Interacting with each will spawn a few dream enemies, and you need to work together here to initially bring the enemies low using your own character, and then switch to the raptor when they're on low health to deal the finishing blow. The combat is fairly straightforward, though it's a little bit fiddly switching between yourself and the raptor. The enemies will group up, so you can clear them pretty easily with AoE, and then switch to the raptor to finish each of them in turn. Move through all 3 of these encounters, and you'll finally spawn this image of Zemregel looking at some ancient writings. You can go and interact with this to work out how to get through the door back in the crypt, and then you'll exit the dream and find yourselves back in Varrock Library. Talk to the raptor, and she will suggest returning to the crypt to investigate the door, so head back there. Once again, continue the quest by interacting with the portal outside. You'll find yourselves back in the crypt and head around to the door, which has now been opened. Head through into the centre of the room beyond the door and investigate the table here. You and the raptor will work out that it is a broken map that is missing some pieces, so you need to go and find the map pieces by killing the zombies that are spread around the area. Once again, these are scaled, so should be a pretty straightforward fight. Each one will drop a map piece, and you need to retrieve 10 map pieces in all to complete the picture. Once you've grabbed them and put them all back in the table, you now have to reassemble the map by doing everyone's favourite sliding puzzle. If you haven't already done an unpleasant number of these through clue scrolls, then a good way of solving them is to first complete the top row and the leftmost column, like this, effectively turning it into a 4x4 sliding puzzle. Repeat with then the rest of the second row and the rest of the second from the left column, turning it into a 3x3, and so on until you have completed it. This one's a little bit fiddly because it's not particularly obvious what the finished picture needs to be. So for reference, the final one looks like this. Things to be aware of: the gold border obviously goes around the edge, so that's an easy way to line up the initial top row and left column. And then otherwise, top left has some green islands, the whitish coloured island is to the bottom left, the grey one is bottom centre, the greeny brown ones are over to the top right, as shown here. You can also talk to the raptor to toggle accessibility mode, which will highlight which pieces are or aren't in the correct place. With that complete, you'll have another chat with the raptor, work out that this is showing some of the area around Lunar Isle. However, this map shows a mysterious mystery island which doesn't appear on the charts you have. Head back to the fort and talk to Overseer Civ about this. She will reveal that it is an island the Fremenniks avoid because it's guarded by a terrible dragon, which sounds like a fun setup for the next quest in the series. And finally, talk to the Raptor to complete the quest. You get a bit of construction XP and a prismatic lamp, and you also, of course, gain access to the Ranger's workroom. This gives a few bonuses to fletching training, the most significant being that the tier 3 of the workroom makes it significantly easier to construct Elder God arrows. Anyway, thanks for watching, I hope you found the guide helpful, and happy questing!